my name is Sellenee and I am the owner of Swinky Mountain, and I am so excited to be here today to talk to you about pattern selection. Selecting patterns as a knitter or crocheter can be one of the most challenging parts of making, and hopefully today's video will help break down some of the mystery to finding a great pattern for your next project. We're going to start today talking about where do we start. When it comes to knitting and crocheting, especially if you're new, you might not know where to look. Of course, there's Google and a ton of places online, but which one is the best place? How do you know? Today, I'm going to focus primarily on the first one that I've listed here, which is Ravelry, and my personal #1 choice when I'm looking for new patterns. Sometimes when I'm looking for inspiration and pattern suggestions, I will also look to Pinterest or Instagram, and occasionally I'll look to Google or a new app called, newer to the industry, app called Ravelry. These are all great resources. With Pinterest and Instagram, it can be kind of challenging. Well, let's back up a minute. With Google or Ravelry, I personally don't. Ravelry primarily has crochet patterns on it. They're working on adding some knit ones, so it doesn't have a lot of what I'm usually looking for personally. And Google can provide so many options that it is way overwhelming, which is why they're third on my list. Pinterest and Instagram can be fantastic, but it can take quite a bit of digging to get to where you want to be and to find the actual pattern. And for some days, that's perfect for me when I'm looking for inspiration, but most days I'm ready to get down to business, which is why Ravelry is my #1 choice for looking for patterns. And it's what I'm gonna walk you through today. All right, so when you go to Ravelry.com and you've created an account and you log in, the first thing you'll see is their blog. They change it up occasionally, it's not very frequent. And sometimes there's some amazing patterns I've never looked at before there. So it's nice to check it out when I do notice that they've updated it. I'm gonna go to advanced search and I'm gonna start by selecting patterns. 90% of the time, this is where I begin my search. And in today's search, I'm going to talk you through looking for a pattern for our upcoming stitch along for household items. If you're watching, the same process applies, no matter whether you're looking for household items or not. So we're gonna start under category and we're going to select home. You can see under category, there's lots of options for you to narrow down. You just have to pick what you're looking for. Then under weight, I don't have very many patterns in my bundle currently that are Aran or worsted weighted, so I'm gonna narrow those down. And I'm also going to try to find, I'm not 100% sure where it's at, where the Tunisian crochet option is, because I don't have any Tunisian crochet patterns yet. It's not unfortunately under crochet terminology, but you can see that there are a bazillion options here to help you narrow down your pattern searching. Ravelry is the biggest database available to us, and so narrowing down your options can be the fastest way. So it looks like we're gonna find what we're looking for under attributes, and we have taken our millions of options down to just over 1,500, which I find to be the sweet spot for me personally. I can almost always find something in this category. So in here, there's coasters, there's blankets, there's pillows. I really think that these Tunisian mosaic options could be really adorable for a coaster set. So I'll be checking this page out. As I scroll through and look, it looks like we can use multiple different colors, so it might be a potentially great stash busting option. It also, as I'm scrolling up and down here, it has a free option and a paid option. Love that. I also am looking at other patterns that are available from her, and I can see that she has almost 5 stars, which means that this designer is a good one. From here, we can see there's details, yarn ideas, and we're gonna select projects. And this is gonna give me the opportunity to see other projects that people have made using this pattern. I find this to be particularly helpful when I am selecting a pattern, Being able to see what other people have done and the success or failures they've had and any notes they've included can be incredibly helpful in my decision-making process. This is fantastic. So I'm going to go back to my details. I'm going to select Save in Favorites, and I'm going to add it to my 2024 Household Items Stitch Along. Using bundles in Ravelry allows me to group specific patterns together for me to review and narrow down my selection options. Next, I'm going to check out this awesome pillow. Now, Toni Lipsey is a very well-known crochet designer. And we can see by her other patterns here that she has 5 stars. So fantastic designer, great pattern, looks super cute. Let's check out the projects. And looky there, lots of success. And I'm even gonna come over here and check the comments. Sometimes there's comments that can be helpful. In this case, there isn't, but that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and save this project in the bundle again. Now, you don't have to use bundles. You can just save the project and be done with it. Bundles is something I've only recently discovered that's been helpful to me. Now, don't make the mistake what I just did and try to click on patterns to back out. You have to use the back button. It's a little something fiddly in Ravelry to get back to our search results. So many options, many different pages. We're gonna take a look at one more pattern here, this tea beanie. Super cute. Unfortunately, however, this pattern is only available off of Ravelry. And while that works sometimes, especially when I'm looking for patterns to recommend for all of you, my audience, I wanna stick with patterns that I know where they're coming from and kind of have a better idea of how to support you if you do run into any issues. So I'm, as adorable as it is, I'm not gonna include that pattern at this time. I might go back and do a little bit more research later, but for the purposes of this video, we're just gonna keep plugging along. We're gonna look at one more page of options here, lots of blankets, which I think are gonna be probably too big of a project for the time frame that we have for this make along, but it gives you a pretty good idea of how many options you have here in Ravelry. Now, this is just a small fraction of what Ravelry can do for you, but hopefully this video will help you to see and maybe access a part of Ravelry you haven't used before, or better use Ravelry to your benefit, there we go, when you're searching for your next project. So in review, when narrowing down our project selection and our pattern selection, we're gonna first take a peek at those reviews. Does the designer have 4 or more stars? Do people who have completed the project say that it's a readable pattern? These are important things for us to look at, and their information can help us make educated decisions. Next, we're gonna check that project tab. When I'm looking at sweater patterns, I wanna see that sweater on lots of different body types, so I know that if I need to make adjustments to the fit, that the pattern is going to fit what I need for my body. That's important. And same goes for pillows and amigurumi. You know, we want these patterns to be able to work for us in a positive way. So I wanna see for the other people that have completed it, that it worked out. And last but not least, I'm gonna take into consideration yarn. If you've been following me for some time, you know some of my favorite projects are something old, something new projects, where I use something from my stash and purchase something from my local yarn shop or from another local yarn shop that I happen to be visiting. This is a fantastic way to continue to support local businesses and still use up what's in my stash and be mindful about my usage. So I'm gonna think about what yarn I have in my stash, what might work, what yarn I might have been eyeing at the store that I'd like to purchase, and make my decisions from there. Last but not least in today's video, which is actually turning out to be fairly short compared to some of my others. Last but not least, I want to remind you of a few final notes. Most importantly, I want to encourage you to trust your gut. If you read a review that, even if it's just 1 or 2 that makes you kind of question your choice and it doesn't feel good, move on. It's okay. If you start a pattern, even if you paid for it and it's not working out, or you're getting frustrated regularly and it just doesn't feel good, again, trust your gut, set it aside, or just frog and try something different. Selecting patterns can be hit or miss, and it's important for us to know that it's okay to walk away from that pattern or project and choose to do something different. Next, I want to encourage you that it is okay to dislike. Certain designers, certain projects could be very popular within your own personal knitting group, within your Facebook forum that you like so much, but it might not be a great fit for you. The designer's writing might bother you for one reason or another. The pattern might not fit you the way that you had hoped. These are all acceptable reasons to just walk away. I personally, there are some popular designers out there that I personally intentionally steer away from. I've made a couple of their patterns. I consistently struggle with a few things that make the making process not as enjoyable for me. So it's easier for me to say a no to that designer than to select another pattern that's going to cause me ickiness. Last but not least, I want to encourage you to be courageous. Don't be afraid to try that new designer's pattern out. Who knows? They could be the next Ann Budd. We don't know. So if it looks like it's a solid pattern and you see things that really indicate to you like they had a good strong test group, so you're able to see some projects and some reviews, they have noted in their pattern that it's been tech edited, that means that they've invested not just their own personal time and energy into the pattern, but they have also paid somebody else to review that pattern before it goes out to the public. These are great ways to give you a little bit of extra encouragement to try a new designer and to be courageous in your making. Hopefully you have found that this video is helpful to you in your pattern selection process. I know that talking through it has even helped me to continue to refine my own personal pattern selection process. And I don't mind looking at patterns, but I don't want to spend all my time finding the next great pattern for the next great project. So I hope that this video has helped you to streamline your pattern searching process and make it just a little bit more efficient so you can get back to making faster and connecting with great projects that you can love forever. If you enjoyed this video, I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and think about shopping at Swanky Mountain, the yarn shop in Gillette, Wyoming. This gives me the ability to continue to make content like this and to help you get connected on your making journey. Until next time, I hope that your time is filled with light and love and yarn.